In 1791, at a quiet abbey in Marseille, a nun was buried in 3 coffins, each bound in iron chains. But even now, over 2 centuries later, the knocking hasn't stopped. They say some stories are better left untold. But this one demands to be heard. Her name was Sister Adeline. By all accounts, she was everything a nun should be. Quiet, devout, and well-liked among her sisters. The abbey walls held no secrets from her, until that fateful winter when everything changed. It started with dirt, simple dark earth beneath her fingernails each morning. At first, the other sisters whispered about sleepwalking, a harmless explanation for a troubling sign. But curiosity turned to horror when they decided to follow her one cold night. Through the mist-shrouded cemetery, they watched as Sister Adeline, their beloved friend, knelt before an ancient grave. Her hands, raw and bleeding, dug frantically at the frozen ground. When they finally gathered the courage to approach her, her response chilled them more than the winter air. "They're calling me from below. I must answer." But that was just the beginning. The Sister Adeline they knew began to fade away, like a candle slowly drowning in its own wax. Food remained untouched on her plate. Sleep became a stranger to her eyes. The corners of the abbey, dark, forgotten spaces where shadows gathered, became her constant companions. During morning prayers, she would speak names, not in prayer but in conversation, as if these long-dead souls were right there beside her. Names of priests who had turned from God, monks who had been cast out, sinners whose very existence had been struck from the church records, names that hadn't crossed living lips in centuries. The whispers grew louder with each passing day. Other sisters would hear her having full conversations with empty rooms, sometimes laughing, sometimes screaming, but always speaking to someone or something they couldn't see. As winter deepened, so did the darkness within Sister Adeline. The woman who once brought light to the abbey's halls now seemed to draw shadows toward her like a living void. And still every night they would find fresh dirt under her nails, no matter how they tried to keep her from the graveyard. What happened in those final days remains sealed in church records, marked with warnings that few have dared to ignore. But we know this. When they finally laid Sister Adeline to rest, it took 3 coffins, each wrapped in heavy iron chains. Some say it was to keep something out. Others know better. It was to keep something in. But even now, after all these years, visitors to the abbey sometimes press their ears to the ground and hear it. A soft, persistent knocking, coming from deep below the earth. As if something is still trying to answer those calls from beyond.